Vives en el centro de la ciudad. Cara me quiere ver, nadie me quiere ayudar. Hambre, tengo frío y no sé qué hacer. Gobierno maldito me la va a deber. Porque yo soy indio, no debo de saberlo. Pasa ya mi tierra, no debe de suceder.
Oh, yeah.
Your favorite Monday night show.
Back again.
OC's biggest podcast.
Yeah. Officially. Yeah,
Officially.
I think we have official numbers on that, right?
We do.
I think every show, though, claims, like, largest on their whatever location.
Hello and welcome to It's Happening Show, community grassroots media for the people, by the people. I'm Jose Gloria.
And I'm Dylan Thompson. We are your hosts tonight.
Tonight, indeed.
Indeedly do.
Indeed skis.
Oh, that's new. Wow, man, you've been in the lab coming up with new stuff. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't get the memo. So
yeah. Well, you didn't read the emails.
I'm bad about that.
It's happened as a movement of the heart and of the mind. It's the energy of the universe that creates waves inside us and all around us, which allows us to activate, motivate, then elevate vibrationally and intellectually towards love, truth, justice, and wisdom. It's happening in every which way.
It's Happening is a culture of empowerment. It's people having the right to exist and participate as equals. It's a dream of what the world could be. The future we want is only possible if we make it happen. So stand up, get informed, and fight back. Fight back.
Fight back.
There's a little Joker laugh in there. Oh, no. No, that's canceled. Okay.
Right. Woo. You could be anywhere in the world. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're with us. So we thank you because of you.
It's happening.
Yeah. Man, I think that's the best one so far.
Wow, man, we're just getting better and better at this stuff.
Hopefully, we're almost going to get to 6. Do you know that next month we'll be at 6 years, Dylan?
What?
Man, time flies.
Oh, man. Should I be feel embarrassed I forgot our anniversary? Or
yes.
A little bit. Okay, yeah. There's a little bit of shame there. But make it.
Yeah, man. So, like
amazing.
So much. We're happy to have with us Danett Abbott-Wicker and Martin Varona. They'll be with us in just a bit. We'll talk to them about all things Orange and their first-time candidacy. So that will be exciting. So, nice. But speaking of exciting, woo! Democratic Party.
That's yeah. Is that exciting?
Do the kids still raise the roof?
I don't know.
Do they dab? Like
I don't know. I bet Kamala and Joe Biden are
whatever the kids are into.
Dabbing, yeah.
The Democratic Party is here for it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, they're just holding it on TikTok, basically, right? I mean, that'd be something to think about.
Yeah. So so today was the first night of many speeches berating and destroying the character of Donald Trump. Probably not any more than he has done for himself, but it was definitely a lot of moments where it's like, wow, they're really trying to get under his skin, especially Michelle Obama's speech, which I thought was pretty phenomenal. I thought she even did better than Kamala Harris when she announced vice president. Maybe she should have been VP, but I don't know. It's
too much.
Too much.
Too many dynasties. Let's mix in some new last names.
So Bernie spoke, and what's his name? Governor Kucinich? No.
Dennis?
No, not him. The other one.
Oh, the other guy.
Kasich. Yeah, that one guy that was kind of like probably the most centrist out of all the Republicans. But no, they had a lot of Republicans, good amount of saying that this is not the party we remember or we stand with. Donald Trump is a menace, and we're going to vote Democrat. So
damn,
yeah, they're really pulling all the punches.
We'll see, man.
So yeah,
I worry though, because I know that Trump is actually pretty fragile. But I fear that he's the villain in the cartoon where you shoot energy at him and he just absorbs it. You know what I mean? And becomes even more powerful. Yeah.
Big time. I have
scared,
not
dude.
yet read his tweets, but I'm sure they will be epic. And and he'll talk about nasty women. We should just
There'll be a whole new set of terminology.
Yeah. Rigged election, nasty, and low IQ, I think.
Yeah, low energy, creeper Biden. Like it's gonna be something.
All right.
Something like that.
Yeah, so more to come on that, no doubt. Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Dude.
Other than that, it's been hot.
It's been hot.
Right?
Oh. It's been I wanted to not talk about the weather because we always start with the weather.
Well, I mean, it's a natural.
This is a for sure, like, let's talk about the weather situation, right? Because Death Valley reached 100 degrees, the hottest temperature in U.S.
130.
Yeah, in at least 100 years, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
107 years. So man, it was hot.
Toasty.
It was this, like uncomfortably hot. So for people that don't have AC, then like myself. So like other people were struggling. It's
yeah. I got to get creative.
Yeah, I saw people just getting the hose and just in the yard and stuff.
The water just comes out hot. Yeah, it's one of those things,
Yeah, and of course there was also rolling blackouts that I believe happened yesterday.
Right. Welcome to COVID. And I wonder, isn't it going to be worse because we don't have the energy efficiency of office spaces and stuff for a lot of workers, so they're using their personal ACs, which is a drag on the
right. Individual AC uses versus all in one building using one. But yeah, this historic reading is just a small part of massive, intense, and long-lasting heat dome smothering the West Coast that will continue to get worse through Tuesday, according to CBS News. So yeah, more hot weather to come.
Oh yeah, look forward to that. Oh, okay. But to be fair, anytime I'm complaining that it should be the opposite weather. So it's like,
I know when it's so cold, we're like, oh my God, it's so too cold. Oh,
I'm just going to start taking it from now on. So bring it on. Is that all you got? Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So
bring on the lightning, like in San Francisco.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
But what about Belarus?
Oh, what about it, man? Apparently, there's been some historic demonstrations in the country protesting an election of a longtime leader who they are calling Europe's last dictator, basically Alexander Lukashenko. Apparently, or by their records, won in a landslide an 80% victory in the election, but it's being contested by the population and other countries. And they saw hundreds of thousands of people out in the streets protesting this. But it's interesting because he was heard in a tractor plant a few days ago saying, "We held the elections already. Until you kill me, there will be no other elections." So, I mean, like, it almost seems like famous last words, or like, like a hubris moment, because careful now.
Later on that week.
Yeah. Oh boy, I was too specific in that. That one. So we'll see what happens here, but gigantic protest movement going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, this could be a situation that could mirror what hopefully not, but could happen in America if, as Trump says, this is the most rigged election in the history of elections. Like, no one's rigged it more than this is even more rigged than the way I rigged it with the Russians. I mean,
and I know.
Yeah,
That's great.
This is going to be. He's already, fomenting distrust and whole mail-in ballot fiasco, and
we'll get to that later too.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. But yeah, I'll just say that this could, this now, it's not just here, it's other places. Like, if you're going to have to kill me.
Yeah, it's intense. So careful what this guy wishes for.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
Arizona school district cancels classes after several dozen teachers call out sick over coronavirus concerns.
oh yeah,
So yeah, man, there's just so many stories all over of places that Trump is saying like it's completely safe, go back. Like we need our star students. Educators are essential workers. You talk to educators now, like they know. I mean, they are essential, in fact, but it's essential that they stay safe and don't help to spread this to their family members. Because they can get it and they can share it with their older, more vulnerable, family members and people that they're around. So, yeah. So, according to NBC News and the superintendent of J.O. Combs Unified School District, we do not know the duration of these staff absences and cannot yet confirm when in-person instruction may resume. So, yeah. They canceled the plans to reopen schools after several dozen teachers staged a sick out in protest. All classes, including virtual learning, will be canceled, though breakfast and lunches will be available for pickup. So, yeah, this is a sick out. This is
there you go.
Coming down to.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it was basically a last line of defense for these teachers to stand up for themselves, and it was effective. So, I hope this could be a time for unions to start organizing more. I mean, the teachers' unions have seemed to be on the uptick as far as the amount of organizing they've been doing in the last 5 years, I'd say.
Yeah,
we've heard seen a lot of strikes across the country. So see it continue in COVID.
Yeah. I mean, in different states, I think in Wisconsin, right, there was a massive educators union protest and sit-ins and all sorts of stuff. And so with Betsy DeVos, which talk about if we don't have Trump, we don't have Betsy DeVos, and that's a pretty freaking huge reason to not have him back, because she has just been absolutely horrible, just horrendous.
Oh yeah.
And so we need to get rid of all of them. But yeah, good on the teachers for standing up for their rights and for the health of themselves and the youth and the neighborhoods and communities that they serve.
Oh yeah, big time.
Bigly.
So I got another story here coming out of North Korea.
Yeah.
Sad story for us Americans here, because the people of North Korea are forced to give up their pet dogs for restaurant meat amid the food shortage. So this is like a terrifying thing, hearing this. I mean, I can't even imagine giving up your pet for such a purpose. But it is interesting that apparently the move by leader Kim Jong-un is thought to be aimed at appeasing rising discontent among the public amid a dire economic situation. And that sounded weird when I read that, because I was like, wouldn't this like freak everyone out? But pet dogs are thought to be owned mostly by the elite and wealthy in Pyongyang. And so so they're seen as like the bourgeoisie, and they're like a sign of capitalist decadence to have a dog. So it's a weird cultural spin on this thing, because man, to an American this is like unthinkable. Like this would be the last thing after they take all of our rights away and put us all in jail. Once the dogs are harmed, that's when Americans would start being like, "Oh my, crossed the line."
No way.
Yeah. So good times.
Yeah, the amount of love. I mean, Mexican people, we love our dogs too. But I think the level of love and is like times 10 here in America. So if it's like, you touch Fluffy over my dead body,
they're fur babies. They're not just pets anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Like there's a whole set of terminology that humanizes pets that is developed here.
Each their own. I respect that. I always say about that is like if you care, you need to care about pets as much as you care about. You need to care about undocumented children in cages as much as you care about your dog. His health insurance and like haircuts. That's all I'm saying. So Karen's Corner.
Oh, Karen's Corner.
Karen's Corner.
Not again.
Yeah, this is an ongoing segment as it, by popular demand, on popular being like, this is a popular thing for people to do.
For people to do, apparently.
Be Karens.
Wah, wah.
But as we've learned, hashtag not all Karens. There's wild pack of Karens accuse grocery store of committing war crimes for denying them entry because they refused to put on a face mask. So this happened at Mother's Market and Kitchen in Costa Mesa on Saturday. The store's manager shut the doors because the group refused to wear face coverings. The citizens of the United States are being denied access to food. They cried, "This is a war crime. Crimes against humanity are happening right now," a woman wailed. Police were called to the scene. 2 women were arrested, and the group has been labeled a wild pack of Karens for their behavior. Jeez Louise. Now
I lost it there a sec.
I've heard of wild pack of wild boars and a wild, pack of rabid dogs.
But man, never been this scared of a pack of anything. But yeah, man, they're vicious. I didn't see that this occurred in Costa Mesa, so this is a local story. Proud to be here, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm so embarrassed, and so are a lot of people. They're like, "We're the Florida of California." This is embarrassing.
I am not. Much love to Florida.
Not proud right now.
Yeah, we're gonna be getting Florida hate mail. It's fine. It's the best kind.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That was Karen's Corner.
Karen's Corner. Oh, wow.
Brought to you by Mother's Market.
It's scary. Oh, especially happening at Mother's in Costa Mesa. I can just see that now. Oh, it's poetry. Anyway, yeah, but it's alarming they move in packs now. I guess their social dynamic behavior is evolving. Okay, so moving into our top stories.
Top stories.
Top stories.
Insert cool graphic here.
Graphic sounds.
Brought to you by
voiceovers. Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right.
Starring Dylan Thompson.
Dylan Thompson.
That's me. Okay, so guys. Oh, okay. Yeah. So what's up with the USPS, man? The Postal Service. They're in some trouble right now, aren't they? Well, as the election looms, basically, there's been a few changes made to the U.S. Postal Service that are causing maybe a budget shortfalls, and maybe they're not going to have as much throughput in processing the mail in upcoming months due to these policy changes. And a Trump official is running our beloved Postal Service at the moment. And so not only are there protests outside of this guy's house because people think this is an attack against our democracy, against voting, because and I mean, Trump even said it himself that if the Postal Service doesn't receive a large influx of funds soon, that they would have trouble delivering mail in this upcoming election. And he came out with a couple statements saying that he wouldn't support funding them. I think he did recant them. But I mean, it's pretty clear that I think it feeds into his whole voter fraud conspiracy stuff, and as maybe a last ditch attempt at having a viable campaign by saying that everyone else is corrupt.
Yeah. No, as I mentioned, I prediction time.
Predictions
brought to you by Jose Gloria. If it's
starring. Okay.
So I really believe, and I think a lot of people believe as well, that on election day, Trump is going to announce victory, regardless of what happens. He's going to announce victory, and if if it comes out that on election day he in fact does lose, then he will just beat this is rigged drum until the cows come home. So the U.S. Postal Service, it's a constitutionally protected entity, started by Benjamin Franklin, no relation with Don Benjamin of Santa Ana lore.
Yeah, commonly mistaken.
Commonly mistaken.
Yeah,
I think Don Ben is the local. Benjamin Franklin. He's a Latino Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, that works actually.
Yeah, that checks out. So no, this is really, really troubling that he is trying to undermine the mail-in ballot situation and the need for a lot of elderly folks to do what is in fact absentee ballots. It's like, absentee ballots are great, but mail-in ballots, it's rigged, it's completely fraudulent. You get people just signing and there's no account. Like, it's just stupid. So yeah, and there's been pictures, right, of mailboxes being stacked up, right, in trash, being trashed, as in there's not going to be enough personnel to get the mail from these places. So the big rallying cry today in the DNC convention was vote early, like vote as soon as you get your ballot, because you don't want to have a situation where your ballot is in fact not counted because of how he's trying to undermine and slow down the process, which has been shown to be really good, and not fraudulent as he claims.
How dare he?
How dare he?
But yeah, feel bad for the Postal Service.
I know. So there's been a campaign, right?
Screwed for a decade.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. I mean, I remember when it's around Occupy was happening and the Postal Service people were reaching out to Occupy saying they're screwing us. They're making us fund our pensions like 40 years in advance. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but it's like a ridiculous kind of pension funding requirement they're made to meet so that they can't actually operate correctly. But it's such a sad story because it's like they don't even run off of taxes. They pay for themselves by their operation. So to be dismantled, anyway, let's not get into it. I'm getting sad.
I'm getting sad too. We cannot privatize mailing. We can't do it. We have to be able to subsidize it and ideally make it be more self-sustainable so that we don't have a situation. I mean, for a long time it was very self-sustainable up until recently it started to get into the red. So they're very
well because they have sabotage from the outside because they passed these pension requirements. You know, so it's just like they actually, had they been left alone to operate, I mean, they'd still be fine. So, and then the Republicans say, look, government doesn't work. It's like, well, you just passed these things that screwed them and made it so they couldn't. So it reminds me of the character in Parks and Recreation, the libertarian who runs the department on the first episode. Anyway.
Oh, I think I only watched the first episode. The guy with the bushy mustache, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. Okay. Yeah, so more to come on that, I'm sure. But one thing that you can do is buy stamps. So there's been a big campaign to go in there, buy stamps, and also you can go to their website, and there's all sorts of fun toys and swag you can buy for stocking stuff. What? Stocking stuffers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that. Whatever y'all people say. Stocking stuffers. Yeah, so you can give that for kids and all sorts of stuff. So support your local USPS and also, give, like smile at them. Be like, hey, man, we support you. Or, hey, post person.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. You and your cool hat and your sweet blue shorts. And you're, like nonchalantly walking by barking dogs.
Yeah, they have nice legs. Be like, you got nice legs, dude. Good job.
All right. All right. So with that, I want to go ahead and bring on to the show our two guests for tonight. Orange City, the City of Orange, first-time candidates Danett Abbott-Wicker and Martin Varona. I'm really nervous. Martin Varona. So, Danett Abbott-Wicker and Martin Varona.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello. Welcome.
So,
Thank you.
Danett has lived in Orange since 1972. She attended Heim and Fletcher Elementary School, Peralta Junior High, and Villa Park High, and received her BA in Communications at Cal State Fullerton. Danett wants to make sure that the city engages the voices of citizens of local government to be a vanguard confronting climate change and ensuring everyone has access to healthcare, especially during this a challenging time in our history. As candidate for District 3 in the city of Orange, she will run a positive campaign, one in which she will display integrity and honesty in all her interactions and treat all whom she encounters with utmost respect. Thank you, Danett. And Martin Varona is a husband and first-generation American, son of Mexican immigrants and civil engineer, and is running for Orange City Council in District 2. Martin attended Orange Public Schools from elementary school to high school. You earned her bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Cal State Fullerton. Oh, y'all are both Cal State Fullertonians. Alumni. What are y'all? What's your mascot?
Titans.
Titans. Oh, that's right. And Martin also got a master's degree in civil engineering from UCLA. Go Bruins. Martin has lived in the city of Orange for almost 30 years and is excited to bring a progressive and community voice to the council. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, this is exciting times. The first time that district elections, thanks to friend of the show and progressive champion, Betty Valencia, as she was part of the lawsuit that pushed Orange, as Dr. Moreno, whom I believe are the wonder twins of progressive politics around here. He as well was in the lawsuit that pushed for district elections and ultimately was able to gain a seat in council. So this is a big deal for the city of Orange. And Danett, we'll start with you. You've grown up in Orange, Orange, and you've decided to run. So what is your story, and why are you running for election this time?
Well, as you know, I've lived here since '72. I've seen a lot of change in the city, but unfortunately, the government hasn't changed a lot, and they're pretty regressive in their policies. They're pretty heavy-handed in terms of how the police handle calls, which is kind of one of my big platform issues. We don't have social workers. We need to integrate social workers into that budget. That budget is very similar to Santa Ana's budget. 42% of the total budget goes to the police department. How that's broken down, I do not know. We'll find that out, but that to me seems excessive and always has seemed excessive, because a lot of the calls that they're called out on they're not qualified to address. Some people have mental health issues, what have you, and they're not qualified or trained to handle those kind of calls. So I would love to see that, a good portion of that budget allocated to hiring social workers, therapists, people that can de-escalate these situations. I think that's such a good way to go. Why haven't we done that? Thank you, Reagan, for, ending a lot of the mental health coverage in the country way back in the 80s. And ever since then, it's been downhill. And that's where you get a lot of these issues with people being unhoused on the street. This should not happen in this country. 30 million people went hungry last month. Why is that happening in America? That should never happen either. That is a human right. It's not a privilege. You should have shelter. You should have enough food in your stomach. You should have enough. You should have a good, safe place to live. It's ridiculous that people have to move out of state to afford a house, and it's even getting bad out there in other states. It's astronomical here. I don't know how people afford it. I don't know how they do it, but something's got to change. Orange is not a big fan of affordable housing. I live down the street from a development that just went in on the corner of Glassell and Lincoln. Used to be the site of a church. I think it was leased land from RJ Noble, which is a sand and gravel company that's been here for decades. They're a whole other story that I might have to deal with at some point. They're in my district. And they sold the land to a developer, of course, and they packed in these lofts that are all the rage right now. And, they're going for starting at $700,000. Who can afford that? I can't afford that. And I know damn well people making, $10, $12 an hour can't afford it either. So something radical has got to change. It's not sustainable. I want to see everyone thrive. I want to see everyone do well. I want to see everyone have, I would love to see free 2-year, 4-year community college so everyone can get an education. I'm all about Bernie's platform, as just.
That's right.
I was a victory captain for the man, and
You were one of the best.
I will never stop feeling the burn.
Yeah.
My
So,
birthday
I mean-
sticker.
Yeah, where's the Bernie sticker?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Woo! Okay, there you go.
It's on my computer every day, so I
Oh.
can see him in his sweater and his kitty, holding the kitty. So anyway,
Yeah. No, truly, truly, Danett, yeah, you were, you and so many other victory captains and volunteers were really instrumental in Bernie Sanders winning the congressional district 46,
Yep.
48, or 45, and other ones that were tasked with the Orange County team. So I know that you worked closely with other folks on staff and myself. So it was truly great to have met you from there and whatnot.
Yeah.
So and it proved that there is a progressive need for progressive champions, and these issues really resonated with it. So it really laid down the foundation for progressive candidates like yourself to ideally be elected. So, but I want to go ahead and get Martin in here. So, Martin, a fellow long-haired brother, I see.
Woohoo!
I like you already. Let's just put it out there.
Bias.
You had me, long hair, Mexicano. But yeah, man, like civil engineer and husband, and just just born and raised in Orange. Is that?
Technically born in a hospital in Anaheim, but lived in Orange for almost my entire life.
Right. So why did you decide to to throw your hat into this race for Orange City Council?
Yeah, well, I'm new to politics. This is my first time ever throwing my name in the hat, but I'm not new to Orange. I just I saw that there just something wasn't really right with the city council. Something wasn't right, and I decided to say something and do something about it. I'm tired of the anti-people stances and the council basically, dehumanizing and singling out, people with the least political power. And, usually that comes down to Latinx people, the communities in Orange, which there's a large community, especially in my district, in District 2, I think is, above 40% at least. So, and it's a very diverse community. But yeah, I wanted to run because I want the communities to be, to be heard finally, and, I, looking at the city council, I would want someone like me who has experienced life like me here in Orange to be on the council, and there wasn't somebody like me out on there, and I just decided like that has to change, right? And I'm running on a progressive platform as well, and which is from a political spectrum, we're in the minority as well, me and Danett, in that regard, because Orange is historically a conservative city, but we're not a conservative monolith though, even though the council, has that position. They're unanimously conservative, but we're not. Most of the city isn't. So yeah, I just felt like I was ready to step in, throw my hat in there, and try to get the job done,
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, we definitely need community leaders that are pushing the people agenda. And I don't know if maybe each of you can go over maybe something you think the council is not approaching in a people-oriented way, or what do you think, maybe Martin, if you want to start, like a major issue in your city?
A lot of stuff, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to pick. Yeah,
it's hard. Yeah, it's super hard to pick. But Danett mentioned basically the stranglehold that the police department has on the city budget, and I feel like that's really a key in getting a lot of the things that are going to be people oriented done. It was like close to 42%, like $50 million for the police. The city fire department, I think, has like another 26%. So you have 70% of the budget allocated to what the city calls like public safety,
Right.
And how many of us that dedicate 70% of our budget to keep like ourselves, safe or something like that? That's just crazy. So I think that is a really important direction where like progressive candidates have to go into to try to liberate that budget so that we can actually push some of that money into like people-oriented, you know, programs and whatnot. Housing, like Orange is an expensive place to live, to rent. I've moved several times throughout my life. You know, I'd probably like an average of every 3 years have to move to like a different rental place. And yeah, you know, so I think housing is a big deal, and definitely just kind of one of the biggest things, especially like I mentioned earlier in terms of representation, is you know, translated materials. Like there isn't really any like Spanish speaking like translation services for, you know, City of Orange government work, you know, for us to for people to attend meetings and to listen to, you know, to their local elected officials in some capacity where they can understand. It's just not being done, and that's kind of being brought to attention right now too, in the county level as well. So yeah, I think those are one of the couple of the things that that I would say need to be really shifted into a direction where it helps a lot of people in Orange. But there's really quite a few things that needs to be changed.
Oh yeah, like in many of our cities for sure.
So many intersecting issues. Like,
oh yeah,
one thing here leads to something else, or somehow are related. You know?
Yeah, you fix one problem and then two arise. You know, but that's what good governing is able to be intersectional, right? So where you're trying to address various issues. You know, one of those being, I mean, homelessness, and also, you know, this issue about housing, right? So there's people that are on the streets, there's people that are in apartments struggling to stay housed, and there's young people or folks that are living with, you know, relatives that are desperately waiting to get into affordable housing. You know, they're coming back from college, they're graduating from college, they're, you know, starting a family, and, you know, what, 700,000 is just not something like that's really attainable to a lot of people. So how do we keep people housed, right? And so then those issues around what kind of policies promote affordable housing, at the same time, what kind of policies prevent displacement, and when those being just cause eviction and rent control. Danett, what are your thoughts on housing? I mean, I know you mentioned it earlier, but at least I mentioned. And what are the things that you support or would like to propose to address that issue?
So, as Martine just mentioned, everything is intersectional, and it's getting more so the more we go on. You know, comparing, let's say, the federal military budget to the police, you know, budget, it's pretty much the same thing. It's bloated. We don't need to spend that. You know, they have, you know, how many billions of dollars for these fighter jets, and we can't extend the unemployment benefits for another 2 months to prevent mass evictions from happening. It's going to happen everywhere, and it's going to get really bad before you know, people start realizing we're going to have millions and millions of people out on the streets. You know, it's just it's unfathomable to me, the way this has been handled, and it filters down to the local level too. Right. And I find it horrifying. Like I said, the city council has been for a long time very hands-off. They are pretty anti-science as well too. I saw a picture of Mike Alvarez, who's mayor pro tem right now. He's running for my district, standing in the circle with probably about a dozen people giving out an award to 2 girls, scholarship or an award or something. No mask on, standing about that close to them. They didn't have masks on either. So this is kind of an example of the mindset. You know, they don't believe in the science for whatever reason. They follow the Board of Supervisors recommendation. They were very hands-off. You know, they wanted to very pro businesses opening early, and we saw a spike. So it's just that kind of that mindset that really, really ticks me off, the way they handled that. They also, when this whole pandemic started in late February, they actually shut down their city council meetings for like a couple months. They didn't have them. Then when they started them back up online, they wouldn't let residents comment. I also went on their website to check out what they were reporting on COVID, and propped in a couple of my comments, just very innocuous, just asking, you know, when are you going to be updating this? They were removed within 2 hours. Okay, that's not good.
On the City of Orange Facebook page?
City of Orange website.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a government agency, and you should not be removing residents' comments in my book.
I know. I mean, I know that that's been an issue in other cities.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
They've been able to like fight it, and then they reinstate people because that's literally like First Amendment right to freedom of speech.
Isn't the mayor of Irvine being sued right now for removing comments from her Facebook page even?
Yeah.
So it's
Bad.
I know that was happening in Anaheim with Mayor Sidhu, and there was a threat of a lawsuit, and that was enough for him to like slow his roll. But yeah, you know what?
But yeah, as for housing, you know, I know that this has been on the back burner for a while, probably about 3 or 4 years. If you guys know where, I went to junior high, Peralta Junior High. It was at the location where there's a sports park. They have like a driving range. They have a soccer field. It's on the corner of Meats and Canal, right behind the Orange Mall. I call it the Orange Mall. It's now the Village at Orange. But they had a huge uproar in the community about 3 or 4 years ago, and I think it's still on the like I said, the back burner. They were to put high density housing in there, and the residents had, you know, rightly so, it was an uproar over it. No, we don't want that there. It's going to congest the traffic. And were they even thinking about putting in affordable housing? Oh no, you know, I'm sure they're going to go for 800, 900,000. If you're going to sell that, I think the school district still owns that property, if I'm not mistaken. If you're going to, you know, develop that, we need a better plan. We need affordable housing. We can't keep building these, you know, $1 million houses, driving people out of the state because they can't afford to live here. Businesses are leaving. You know, people they can't afford to live here. So, I mean, something's got to be done about that. It's past the point of ridiculous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, it's a complicated issue because some people, you know, we can't even have is all the housing that is being built market housing or, you know, market rate, aka luxury lofts. And, you know, who can afford to live in those? And the problem is, like, you know, fine, luxury lofts for people that can afford them, but then they build those and then the property values rises, and so it starts rising rents. So do you which is why one of the issues is around rent control. Do you support a rent control ordinance in Orange?
Absolutely. I mean, and then also the whole thing with I know Newsom had extended the rent and mortgage moratorium, but the problem with that's great, but they're not forgiving those payments. It's going to be piling up. Who's going to be able to pay $6,000 in 2 months? I mean, come on, that needs to all be forgiven.
Right.
So absolutely, it's just, the whole thing is ridiculous, just beyond the pale, as they say. And yeah, absolutely, I'm going to fight like hell when I get in there, because, you know, I'm coming to town and I'm taking names.
Dang.
There you go. Fighter.
Awesome. Martin, yeah, no, I love that energy. We need that.
Got to do it.
You got to be driven. Martin, so you mentioned the issue, and you know, and I'll let you start, and then Danett can talk about it as well. But like this whole thing about 70% of the budget going to, you know, to public safety is pretty outrageous. I mean, that's up there with the city of Santa Ana. But I mean, and it's granted, it's Orange is a smaller city. I don't know that crime is so like rampant in Orange as it is in Santana or Anaheim. I couldn't imagine. All I know about Orange is, one, the block is there. Now it's called the Outlets, but
the Outlets in Orange, get the name right.
It will be the block. Damn it!
It'll always be the block in your heart.
The block to me as well.
You're just Jose from the block, you know.
That's right, dude. That's where we went to like get numbers and stuff.
That's right.
Anyways, so but it is a tale of two cities, similar to like Anaheim. Whereas there's people that live in the hills, and then there's, like you said, Martin, the working class families, Latinos. You know, many, you know, that live in other parts of Orange. So and so then the question is, and around the issue of public safety, one of the big things that has been coming out recently is the whole movement around defunding the police, which looks like, you know, different things, right? Some people will say, you know, abolish the police, and other people will be like, no, let's you know, start it from scratch, and more importantly, let's figure out how we can be proactive, you know, in our ways to approach public safety. So what are your thoughts as far as, I mean, you said, being able to liberate the budget, I think was the coin term, Martin Varona 2020. But what does that look like as far as public safety and health, especially during times of COVID, right?
Yeah. I think we have to look at this obviously as a long-term plan. We're talking about the city of Orange, and we're going to face staunch conservative resistance. So even if people like me and Danett get elected in, there'll still be a majority conservative council most likely. So we have to. That's the kind of the frame that I'm going to put this in. If possible, I'd really like to find a way to reduce the budget for the police and to cut off some of the unnecessary, spending. I think, and to me, restructure. It really comes down to understanding that policing in America, is inherently racist. I think, there's just a vast history of policing in America that, tends to marginalize, tends to disenfranchise, people of color. And, we have a majority people of color population in Orange. It's a slight majority. I think it's at like 55 or a little less than that maybe. And we have, a police department that holds such power, holds, a lofty budget, and a council that completely supports them, that has no interest in changing anything essentially. They're interested probably in spending more. I mean, I think they just bought them body cameras, So the way I see it is it's going to be kind of baby steps in that direction. I'd like to see like a civilian police review board of something of that sort, get implemented, I think, which could be something that the council could also, possibly be interested in, given the times that we're in right now. But I think in the future, I'd like to see an overall restructuring of the police in Orange, where the police doesn't have such a huge budget. There's definitely, I think, some need for police, for investigations, for critical, emergencies and such. But a lot of the work that they do, is not something that they're trained for. It's not something where they could respond in an appropriate manner. I mean, recently the city of Orange responded to somebody having a mental health crisis. I think in East Orange somewhere, and I believe within 2 minutes of them arriving, parking their car, this person was shot and killed. And I believe they were probably following the protocols that they knew, but those protocols got this person killed. And it's not, people do need to look into those types of situations and see really, was a police officer really the right person for that kind of job? Could we have saved this person's life, even if this person posed, a threat at that particular time? Did they deserve to die? So there's so many issues, with the police, especially with the various units of the police. I mean, the city of Orange has gotten into a lot of trouble with gang injunctions before. The city of Orange has its own gang unit that monitors people who have been incarcerated and keeps them and makes sure that they don't leave a particular area, which is quite egregious, I think. This doesn't really help people who have been marginalized to recover and to rehabilitate and to be integrated back into society. So it's not an easy solution, especially in the position that someone like me and someone like Danett will be in if we're elected. So it's a long-term process,
Yeah, I think that was a well said answer. It's a very realistic way to look at it. And I do wonder if there are ways of framing, I think conservatives are very afraid of even the term defund or the phrase defund the police.
Yep.
They see it as threatening, and like, I mean, but it is funny though when you think about it. And maybe Danett, maybe you can add on to this, but I mean, I figure there must be ways to sell this to the police. I mean, do you think they want to respond to people having mental crises? Or I mean, how would you frame this to people? And maybe Danett, you can bring up any other issue with the police as
Yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on that. I'm in on a, I guess it's for lack of a better word, commission for, we're pushing for one payer states for Medicare for all. And she actually is, she was a senator from the state of Colorado, I believe. And she actually is, she's taking classes, but she's learning how to talk to conservatives on these talking points, hers being, you know, Medicare for all. But I think that could be extended, you know, to other talking points. I personally, I think that defund is kind of gotten, it's kind of a trigger word now. And I almost would like to say reallocate, because that's really what we're doing. We're not going to defund them totally. We want to, of course, take a large portion of that budget because it's so bloated and ridiculous. But I think that kind of the basic problem, I think that the culture itself is endemically racist and punitive. I don't think, like Martine said, a lot of the calls they go on, they are not qualified to handle. Actually, I'll give you an example. Was this last year? I'm trying to think. It was pre-pandemic. We actually came home we used to go to our friend's house for pizza on Friday nights. We got home about probably 10:30. We're sitting in the living room reading, checking our texts. And I hear a rustling out the door, and I'm like, what's going on? And Mike says, it's probably someone leaving like a flyer or something. No, it was a guy, I think he was high. I don't know if he was on meth or whatever, but he was naked. He broke into my neighbor's house. He actually climbed up on their patio cover and scared the girl that lives there. But they literally had probably 10 cop cars out here, 12 officers. This guy was obviously having a mental issue. He was on something. He probably has, a drug dependency, trying to maybe self-medicate. I don't know. But they literally had him in their back. We were watching from our upstairs window. Basically, they had guns drawn. They had the taser, basically telling them, don't move, we're going to shoot you. I mean, that could have been de-escalated by someone that's trained to handle, drug dependency or maybe whatever mental problem they were dealing with at the time. Police officers are not trained by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's part of the problem too. They are not required to take, sensitivity training or anything of that nature, continuing education, because stuff develops, new theories develop all the time. And I think that that's part of the problem too. I just think the culture is so, it's just dysfunctional to the nth degree. The way that they think, the way that they act. Maybe they have issues too that they're dealing with. I don't know, but the whole thing's got to change. It's just systemically messed up, and it's broken. It really is, and it's going to be a long haul to try to. But we have to start somewhere. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there are definitely little things that can be done. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be all at once, right? And
yeah.
I mean, and just one other point I want to bring up is should police even want to take up all these different roles? Should should any one department be burdened with every conceivable thing? And maybe more?
The police have political power, and so the city council uses that. The city council uses the political power of the fire department, of the police to back them. And it's worth it to give them the money, right? I mean, I have your back, you have my back, that kind of deal, But while they're protecting each other, people of color, poor working class people are all feeling the disproportionate amount of policing that they receive. So that kind of relationship really has to end, and it starts with starting to shift some of that money away from the police and
Yeah.
accountability.
On
And I
that
think,
topic,
I
go
think
ahead.
we have to do it now, because we have to, I hate to say this, but strike while the iron's hot. This momentum has been building for months. And I think we just need to keep pushing. We don't have a choice. If we're going to make huge changes, we have to keep pushing. And, you know, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, got to think outside the box, got to capture the moment, as you mentioned, Danett. You know, I mean, there's us that are young at heart, and then there's young people like Martin that, which I think, you know, you're a little slightly younger than I am, but still, Martin, you represent, you know, the young generation, you know, that is gonna really take on the mantle. So I mean, progressives from, you know, like young at heart to like young in actuality, and all people like are stepping up to the plate, and this is a great thing, you know, women in leadership and so on. But I mean, I think you, perhaps Martin, more than other candidates are going to really be channeling the voice of the youth. So, I mean, what would you say to them, and how are you looking to engage them in this election that perhaps they don't even know who their city council member is, let alone like, you know, like,
Yeah.
that this is a district election, or what that is and what that means to them.
I mean, I think they don't know about their city councils because, you know, it was made to be that way. You know, it was made to be them not to hear the news. They're not to hear the city's business, and nobody reached out to them, right? So, but yeah, I'm speaking, you know, as a young person who's also concerned just about the future, you know, and I have, I have hopes and dreams of, you know, of having a family, of, you know, I finished my own education, but I want my, you know, future young people to not be burdened so much by, you know, the cost of an education and the cost of living, you know, in an apartment or something like that. So I think, you know, the best way I can I feel resonate with young people is to speak on those issues that they're most concerned about. And, you know, that I think one of the biggest ones is climate change. You know, there's a climate catastrophe is going to, you know, really put a really bad, you know, put us in a bad situation in the future if we don't handle that. And
Absolutely.
handle.
Yeah, and how would you propose that, like that, you know, because there's a lot of federal kind of things around climate change that can be done, but there are, you know, some initiatives and proposals and things that can be done on the local level to address climate change or you know, environmental justice, as they call it, issues. So what do you think that can be done or should be done as far as that's concerned on the city or level?
Right. You know, I think it starts with, you know, having us, you know, making climate change a priority. You know, I don't think that's at all a priority for the city council. So that's like baby step one. But yeah, one thing, you know, there's a multitude of ways where we'd have to start, because climate change, climate justice is intersectional with just about everything else. It's intersectional with mobility justice, you know, with human rights and all these things. So to me, I think the best way is to just be bold and implement the necessary changes that need to be done. Like stop focusing on, you know, a car dependency society. We have the resources to make bus travel, transit, and active transportation a priority. You know, we just need to have the political will, and we don't have the political will right now. It comes down to, I think, having the right people in council to make those kinds of changes happen. You know, and you know, the best way to make those things happen is to get people like us on the council. So yeah, there really is so many different ways to get started on that.
Right on. Yeah, Danett, same question for you. Like,
yeah, actually, you probably know this. I've been working with the Climate Reality Project. I'm actually taking leadership training the end of this month starting. It was supposed to be in Las Vegas in March, but, you know, pandemic happened, so it's all online now. But actually, they are really versed in what it's called community choice energy, CCE for short. It's basically enables local government control over energy procurement to purchase power, set competitive rates, and collect revenue. The local utility, i.e. Edison or whoever it may be, they still maintain the actual grid, so they need to maintain all of that, and they would deliver the energy to the customers and bill the customers. So that would remain the same, but they would get their energy source from solar, from wind. We have the budget to do this, but Martine's right. The window of opportunity is closing. I don't know if you guys read this, but about a month ago, Siberia, I'm not sure what the town is, pretty north in the Arctic Circle, hit 106 degrees. It's never been recorded since they started recording temperatures back in 1880s. Okay, this is an anomaly. They thought it was an anomaly. They took the temperature the next day. It was 97 degrees. The last Arctic Arctic ice shelf collapsed in Canada. That's never happened in the last 150 years since we've been keeping track. The problem with getting people on board, the city of Orange doesn't even have the most elementary plan to address this. It's not even on their radar. Irvine is actually on board with it, and the city of Lancaster is on board with it. Oddly enough, they have a Republican mayor who was sold on it because he knows it's going to save the city tons of money. So yeah. Right there is a selling point. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
you need to learn those talking points.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, he was sold, and they're on board with it. I think parts of San Diego also are investing in it too. So I think we just need to. I mean, it's going to be like Martine said, it's going to be baby steps. We have to start doing it now because we are running out of time, and we need to divest as soon as possible from fossil fuels. Yeah, if you guys are interested in watching a movie that kind of covers it really well, and actually climate change is affecting immigration too. That's why we're getting a lot of the immigrants coming up from, Central South America. They can't farm their lands anymore because of droughts, because of flooding. Then violence increases. They have nowhere to live. They have no way to make a living. They flee for their lives, basically. So and we're going to start seeing a lot more of that in the very near future. So it's affecting third world countries. Bangladesh has been flooded for the last month. Hundreds of thousands of people displaced. So this is just going to get worse unless we start addressing it. So.
Yeah, it's almost kind of the timing of COVID is tragic almost, because I feel like all of our attention is diverted.
Well, actually, yeah, this they call it a novel virus because it's never been seen before. But this is actually kind of the tip of the iceberg, to use kind of a metaphor. We're going to see a lot more pandemics like this, unfortunately, because of global warming. There's a lot of pathogens that are being released as the tundra melts that we haven't seen for thousands of years, and people don't know how to deal with them. Also, big ag is a problem too. If you can cut back on your meat consumption, that's a huge contributor to global warming and land usage too. So I could tell you a lot about it. It's pretty big and intense, but we have to start changing our ways.
Yeah, we have to do a sustainability episode. Bring you guys back for a panel.
Absolutely.
Switch to maybe a little lighter question, and it's just that we're not that familiar with Orange, but maybe Martine, could you start? I mean, how is life in Orange different in the city, or like what is something that maybe you always expected to see that has changed in your city because of what's happened with the COVID?
Sorry, I didn't really hear your question again.
Well, I'm just kind of asking, like, the normalcy of Orange. I mean, have things changed in a way that when you go out, like, you notice, like, man, this Orange has changed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think what I've seen is, I don't know. It's tough to say because, although I've lived in my life completely in orange. I think the places that I've, been in all around Orange have been largely in the same communities. And those are kind of the communities that, I stuck to. I've seen, Chapman grow larger and larger and, taking over so much of Old Town and the student community, growing,
Right. Yeah.
even further. I think I've seen from a personal perspective, I've seen even in the 90s, kind of like a hard push on tough on crime. And how I used to notice, I used to live in a neighborhood on a street called Highland. And, there was a lot of people involved in, gang activities, kind of, just not following like a good path for themselves. And it almost seems like they just kind of disappeared. Like a lot of people were jailed. A lot of people, the gangs kind of just left because, there was a crackdown, and so I saw that as like not a difference in terms of like the city structures and the roads and itself, but like just the face of the people, or the people in the city. Yeah. Those are the kind of changes that I think I noticed the most. We have newer buildings. The Old Town's been renovated quite a lot since the 90s,
Right.
Where it probably wasn't as attractive as it used to be. But yeah, I think those are the kind of things that I've noticed change. And right now in COVID, I feel like a lot of people are also not taking the virus that seriously, and so you do see a lot of people just kind of walk around without masks, and.
That's interesting. You brought up how Chapman has grown a lot over the years. I mean, what's going on with Chapman though? I mean, they're not having classes, right?
I think they're having online classes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're doing online. Betty said, yeah.
Right.
Weren't they in the news recently because of a professor that didn't
Little
pen an op-ed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that about? Can somebody just briefly say?
Yeah, I think this professor had written an article on this website, Newsweek, I think, and basically questioning. I believe he was questioning the legitimacy of Kamala's birth in California. It's a birth thing, and she was born in California, I believe. So there's really nothing to dispute there. But a woman of color rising up, and someone has to try to bring her down in some way. But yeah, I mean, there's been quite a backlash now. I think there's a new.
You retracted it.
Yeah, there's some kind of petition that's been signed by like 200 faculty members from Chapman that are condemning the words of this tenured professor. And Voice of OC, somebody from there kind of wrote a community piece. I think he's also affiliated with Chapman, and basically was critical of this professor as well. But Chapman's stance has been kind of, free speech.
They don't want to chill
his opinion.
free speech. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after they, I believe, said that they were going to do better in terms of getting more people of color staff and recommitting themselves to diversity, and I don't know about equity, but they said a lot of things that people are not so sure if they're following through with it.
Yeah,
Right.
talk
We'll
is
see.
cheap.
Yeah.
As they say, talk is cheap.
Yeah.
You just see the action, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I know that. There's been Trump rallies I believe at Chapman University, but at the same time they have a really awesome ethnic studies program. Good friend, Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, I believe. He's a teacher out there, and other folks. They've had ethnic studies conference. Orange is now that I think about it, Orange is really an interesting city because it's a college town, but it's not a college town. It's a like a suburban kind of just sleepy town, but it's also like really vibrant downtown, and it actually maintains similar to like downtown Santana and others that or I think Fullerton to an extent, but not the way that Orange Circle is just and but at the same time, there was protest at the Orange Circle with the whole George Floyd situation.
Mhm.
It's all over the place. And then
Yeah.
there's like that restaurant in Orange Hill, I think, that it costs you like $100 a meal. I know this because I went there one time to fancy date, and I was just like,
Trying to press the girl, huh?
Yeah.
Let's go to Orange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orange Hill.
Orange Hills. Yep.
Yeah. It felt, it was like rubbing bows with the rich folk.
That's right. Rarefied air up there, huh?
That's right. But yeah. So, and then also Betty Valencia again in the news I remember she gave a speech at the city council meeting, and somebody had a knife, I believe.
Yes, a couple of years ago, yeah. And they did nothing about it. Nothing about it. You know why? Because the guy was white. That's exactly the whole attitude down there. I'm telling you, it's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Obviously,
You should have had that guy on the floor, cuffed out, but no.
Yeah, once someone left a utility knife in the Santa Ana council chamber, and then they had metal detectors the next day or the next time. They changed the whole security policy. So yeah,
That's either one extreme or the other.
yeah,
No, common sense.
you're right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Welcome to modern politics. Yeah.
Exactly. But I agree with Martine. That's kind of what I've seen too. We used to have a lot more. And I think it has a lot to do with the for-profit prison system we have in the whole state too. That needs to be done away with. I mean, we got a lot of work to do. Absolutely. It's punitive, and it's not, a lot of people get involved in gangs. They don't have anything to lose. They're, poverty stricken. They can't get a job. I mean, there's so many issues at play there, so many variables that people just don't get. And, there's not opportunity. There's not enough opportunity. And I totally understand where they're coming from, and you can't just lock people away and forget them. It doesn't work that way, Should never
Absolutely.
work that way.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, Martin, that, it's like the fabric of the community is really what gets lost. These kids grow up without parents, or they have to move around, and so and I moved around a lot growing up. I lived in all sorts of states, so that is also then it's somebody else's problem, and mostly the educators and other people.
I mean, that's what people notice the most, I think. I mean, especially people from my communities. That's why I think I was having trouble with really figuring out what's physically changed in Orange, just because I don't know if I really pay attention to it as much, because I see the people in Orange changing more, like the people in my community being sent away, or things happening to them rather than what's going on in downtown and stuff like that. Right. So that's what matters more, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I drive around my Anaheim, and I see new luxury developments, and just the way that I've never seen before. And so just things happen when you don't pay attention, and a lot of people are not realizing that things are happening on the local level. And so my whole push is people, Bernie Kratz and others are angry, frustrated, and well, they should be. But it's we can't stay angry. We gotta, channel that anger towards something. We know what we oppose, and many people oppose Biden and the establishment. But what can we propose? And when we lose a battle, how can we prepare ourselves for the long game? Because the Republicans do that very well, but us, we still have a lot to learn as far as being able to, think, globally, acting locally. So I think that is one thing that that can be done, is individuals like you, Martin, and Danett can get involved in your local politics, and hopefully, start the process of, stopping the disenfranchisement and engaging people around campaigns that really, really matter. So,
because I do think there are a lot of disengaged people out there. They've just kind of thrown up their hands, and I'm not a Biden fan by any stretch of the imagination, but we don't have a choice at this point. I know, not a lot of people like him. I was really disappointed, and I had to swallow my pride and go, you know what? This is for the good of the country. We will not survive another 4 years of Trump. There's no doubt about it. He's dismantling things as we speak, you know, with the whole voting thing, taking all the sorting machines out of the post office. It's scary. You know, I've never seen anything like this in my life. He makes Nixon look like child's play. And I'm old enough to remember Nixon. So I was around when that whole thing went down. And it's terrifying. And change does start at the local level. You know, it does. You know, Board of Education counts, Board of Supervisors counts. We need to get those guys out. They're setting the tone, you know. They're setting the tone for the whole county, and it needs to change.
Big time.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna have to wrap up here. This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. Danett, I knew you, but I'm now knowing you as a candidate, and so, you know, and hearing, you know, like the things that, you know, made you become a passionate supporter of Bernie, but, you know, just a passionate person all overall for your community, and, you know, being able to serve. And Martina, you know, I think hopefully I know for a fact myself, I got to know you a little bit better here, and hopefully the voters of Orange and ideally the ones in your district are able to, you know, to hear and watch this and learn about you, the person, and you, the candidate, and the things that you can engage. So I'll go ahead and let you have some final remarks, Martin, and then Danett. So go ahead, Martin.
For sure. Thanks. You know, I just think that we need to find leaders from like places that we normally wouldn't look, you know. I think I'm an untraditional candidate with, you know, a progressive agenda that is going to look to really push the council to have hard and difficult conversations. From what I've seen, you know, at least within my own district, I don't think other candidates will disrupt like business as usual like I would. And so, and just to give myself my final praise here, you know, I think I'm just like a very well-educated person. I studied in a STEM field, which is woefully uncommon in politics. And I'm very grounded with the community. And I see the importance and the beauty of like everyone's contributions to society, you know. So, and I really am looking to seek collective action for progressive change rather than to be divisive. So I think, you know, to the voters, I'm an ordinary person from the community with, I think, you know, some semblance of a vision of Orange. And I'm looking, you know, to make sure that I work towards that vision.
Awesome. And then do you have a website or a Facebook that folks can reach you at?
Yeah, I have a website, VaronaForOrange.com, and I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well.
All right. Folks can help to drop those links in the comments. That would be awesome. Thank you so much, Martin Varona, for District 2, right?
District 2. Thanks for having me.
Woohoo, 2 and 3, right on.
There you go.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having us on. That was great. Just like final comments. Yeah, I agree. I think we need to have a town hall together, Martine. We're on the exact same page on stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, we need all hands on deck. I would really love to engage more people to get involved in some way. And I just think there's still a lot of, I don't know if it's denial or just apathy or just terror, abject terror, what's going on with everything. That might be it too. And everyone just kind of freezes up. There's either, was it fight, flight, or freeze? And I think a lot of people are frozen right now. And it is, it's very, it's a very traumatic time in history. And I just think that we need to get people, you know, engaged on a local level, especially. Right now, we gotta change this around. You know, it's just it needs to happen. And I think we can do it. You know, we have enough support. So.
Yeah, when I was at your campaign kickoff, and yeah, you have a lot of people that are really ready to, you know, take back the city, you know, and champion and stand with and for progressive values that your campaign is about. So where can folks find you, Danett? Website, Facebook, Instagram? Yeah,
I'm at Danett, DANETT, the number 4, orange.org. And then I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Check it out. Cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Nice meeting both of you.
You too. Thank you guys. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks, Jose. Nice to see you, Martine.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Danett Abbott-Wicker, District 3 candidate, Orange, and Martin Varona, District 2 candidate for City of Orange. Thanks again. And we'll be staying in tune to see what's next. So.
See you guys.
Peace.
Jose. Another show.
Yeah, we're just we're gonna be okay. I think we're gonna be all right. If at least half of the progressive candidates run, I think we're gonna be, we're gonna be a much better Orange County.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
We're in a pivotal moment, man. Like, there's just so much going
everything.
on. Yeah.
Everything's converging.
So much going on for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys.
All righty. So that was awesome. I really enjoyed the conversation with Martin and Danett. Did you, Dylan?
Of course, man. And it's great to see. I haven't followed Orange politics too closely, but it's great to see more progressive candidates coming out of this great city. And I mean, it really is. I lived there for a little bit. And it's a wonderful community. So it's great to see, like the whole county shifting more progressive and to see these candidates come out.
Yeah, but something I learned is that, there was a big Chicano, Latino population in Orange, like back in the day, like the 50s, 60s. You still see some like murals and some old school kind of businesses before it kind of turned into a college town. And there's a big fight between the homeowners and those that buy up homes and then rent them out to students. And then of course they have parties and
and then Chapman literally taking over blocks and converting homes into it's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, well, Betty Valencia has really put the city of Orange on the map in so many ways. So interestingly enough, they wrote her out. They made sure to gerrymander the district so that she wouldn't have a chance to run this time around. But she's going to be here. But it's just great to see more people. And I know Eugene Fields is also running, and so there's a real chance that some real good people get elected. So, but you got to have money or people power. So we'll see how much money and or people power these candidates will have to to do this, because one would wish that Facebook posts and lawn signs and big signs at the corners win elections, but they don't.
We're gonna see. It's weird. We didn't touch on it too much, but it is like the COVID election.
Yeah.
So campaigns are run totally differently, I imagine.
100%. So it does make grassroots campaigns be at a disadvantage, unfortunately. So this is a very mailer heavy type of campaign, but there's still phone banking, literature drops, and some people are even, I've seen in other cities, perhaps with not as high numbers in Orange County, doing some door-to-door social distancing type of canvassing. Right. Yeah, there's just too much at stake locally. So yeah, I encourage everyone to go to these folks' websites and see about volunteering. You're angry about things that are happening in national politics, saying like, I'm not going to donate or volunteer for this or that. Get involved. There's so many races locally that desperately need volunteers to get involved. So, in whatever city, I'm sure that there's a progressive race that you can tap into.
Oh yeah, coming to a city near you.
Maybe a county race. Yeah. Thanks, Jenny Lynn, for dropping those Facebook and websites and all that good stuff. So thank you for everybody that's tuned in. Yeah. Our top fans, Hallie Cespedes Shorin. Yeah. Ben Hameen was on there a while ago.
Yeah, we're going to have to start making graphics for our top fans.
I know. That might be a thing. Yeah. I'll never forget, last thing on Orange. Orange, when I was doing Uber driving, was always where I picked up my college students. And also the place where I picked up a college student and took him all the way to Riverside, all for him to literally explode all over my car. Like I was 30 seconds away from dropping this. And like I drove for an hour all the
Are
way
we
to
talking?
Rutgers.
Yeah. Are we talking about like Pulp Fiction exploded all over the back of your car, or?
You know, he tried to like hold it in, like
Oh, okay.
type of thing, and like when it's coming out, like there's no stopping it. So really, he just made it to like, you know, like the pressure was so hard behind it that it just went, and like the ceiling and like my.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it, but
yeah, I wonder why you didn't bring this up in the interview.
I know this would have been
Disgusting.
really important to talk to them about.
But honestly, I thought
about college students throwing up in Uber cars.
Yeah, I thought he literally exploded though, and you're on like skull detail in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? That would have been different story. Not as funny of a story.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he died.
Well, good times.
Okay.
We didn't even talk about how we're now like Dungeons and Dragons like buddies, right? But
not in the game. In the game, my character hates your fucking guts. But my character doesn't hate your character's guts, so my character hates you. Just think about that. No, yeah.
Oh my god.
No, for sure, man. We're on an adventure.
We are an adventure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody that tuned in for the first time. Please like, follow, share this video on your wall, in your groups, especially, to the people that live in Orange, so that they can learn about, these wonderful candidates, and also hopefully get a laugh or two from these mediocre at best co-hosts of 6 years almost.
We should be better at this.
By now, we should.
All the technical stuff is there. It's good. But like the execution, like me talking, like even the sound of my voice right now, like even my wife doesn't want to hear me talk. So like, I'm shocked that like anyone would even listen. So I adore.
Oh my gosh.
True.
Too much. I know. Okay. Yeah. So thank you once again, everybody that tuned in. As was shown on the screen, you can follow us on YouTube, on Spotify, and all sorts of other platforms.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like we're expanding, growing.
Oh, we got stuff.
And we got
buttons.
And we got exciting shows coming up in the next couple weeks. So
big time. You know what? The thing Edgar did, he had the buttons already, but he had a button that when you press it, it hits other buttons. And it just went from there. And now like, okay, we have all this technology. That's my point. But we got all the buttons is also my second point. And I'm not talking anymore now.
All right. Thank you so much, Edgar Silva, for being an awesome audio video engineer. If you want to do your own podcast or talk about recording opportunities, hit us up. It's for Iron Lion Media, Iron Lion Media Productions.
Media.
From Dylan Thompson and Jose Gloria and all of us here on It's Happening, we are signing off.
It's happening.
No es libertad,